There's a moment every man knows. The moment she walks away, looks you in the eye, and acts like you never mattered. Her tone changes. Her texts vanish. Her presence turns cold. And you start to wonder, how can someone move on that fast? How can she seem so unaffected when you're still thinking about her every night? But here's the truth she'll never say. She hasn't moved on. She's acting. She's performing strength she doesn't yet possess. Because what most men don't see is that detachment in a woman doesn't begin when she leaves. It begins when she feels your energy shifting, when she senses that your silence has weight, when she realizes she no longer controls the way you feel. That's when her mind begins to spiral, even if she hides it behind indifference. You see, women don't struggle to let go of men who were weak. They struggle to let go of men who carried depth, a man who was emotionally grounded, a man who saw her clearly, yet never begged for her. Validation. That kind of presence lingers, not because of what you said, but because of how you made her feel. Seen, challenged, understood. When she walks away, she's not free. She's conflicted. Part of her ego wants to prove she's fine. The other part quietly aches every time she remembers your steadiness. She'll post, distract, and pretend. But the silence that used to feel powerful now becomes haunting. Because the truth is, she can't escape what she felt in your presence. And that's the real reason she can't let you go, even if she acts like you meant nothing. It's not about attachment. It's about imprint. You didn't just give her attention. You gave her emotional contrast. You made her feel something that other men don't. Safety and challenge in the same breath. And when a woman feels that, it marks her. So when she pretends you meant nothing, understand this. She's trying to convince herself. Every strong post, every forced laugh, every "I'm better off" quote is part of her coping mechanism. But deep down, she knows your energy isn't easy to replace because real masculine calm is rare, and the man who embodies it is unforgettable. This isn't about revenge or pride, it's about understanding human nature. When a woman can't let you go, it's not because she's weak, it's because something in you reached a place words can't touch. And that kind of connection doesn't fade, it echoes. Before we start, remember, if you're ready to master yourself and the dating game, my full course is waiting at the Infinite Wisdom site. Join once and you're in for life with lifetime access to every future lessons, series, and books. Start your journey now, because growth doesn't wait. Let's dive in. Section 1, the emotional imprint. Why your energy stays with her long after you're gone. When a woman says she's over you, what she often means is that she's trying to be. She's fighting something she can't name. The emotional imprint your energy left behind. Because real connection doesn't disappear with distance. It lingers quietly in moments she can't control. You see, attraction fades, but impact remains. Every time she felt your presence, your tone, your calm, your energy, it carved a subtle memory into her nervous system. The human mind doesn't just remember people. It remembers how they made us feel. And if your energy carried stability, peace, or depth, it becomes nearly impossible for her to forget. Most men think women move on faster because they seem more expressive. They cry, they talk, they post. But those are surface-level releases, emotional distractions, not healing. The real processing happens later, when the noise dies down, when she's alone with her thoughts and the silence reminds her of what's missing. That's when your absence starts to sting. You see, an emotionally grounded man doesn't just take up space, he alters the emotional atmosphere around him. His silence carries weight, his words hold patience, and his energy speaks louder than emotion. When she's around that energy, her body learns to relax. Her chaos slows down. That's not chemistry. That's regulation. You became her calm without her realizing it. And when you leave, the contrast becomes unbearable. She'll try to replace you, not always with another man, but with attention, with distractions, with validation, but nothing feels the same. Because what you gave her wasn't excitement. It was balance. And once a woman has experienced balance in your presence, she unconsciously searches for it in every man after you. Most won't provide it, because most men chase rather than embody. That's why she can't let you go. It's not just missing you, it's missing the version of herself that existed around you. You brought out her softness, her surrender, her peace. You allowed her to feel safe enough to stop performing. And now, without you, she feels the void of that safety. The emotional imprint you left is not about control, it's about authenticity. Because when a man shows up with genuine composure, it imprints something rare, consistency. And that consistency becomes unforgettable in a world full of noise. So when she pretends you meant nothing, she's not lying to you. She's lying to herself. Because deep down, she knows that what you gave her wasn't common and what she lost wasn't replaceable. And that realization will keep replaying quietly every time she meets someone who talks louder but feels weaker. That's the power of masculine stillness. It doesn't demand to be remembered. It simply is. And long after you're gone, your presence continues to echo in the spaces her distractions can't reach. Section 2. The ego versus emotion battle. Why she pretends you meant nothing. When she acts like you meant nothing, it's not peace, it's pride. It's her ego trying to protect her from what her emotions already know. The ego is designed to survive through illusion to mask pain behind control. So when she walks away and acts cold, she isn't free. She's fighting a private war between image and feeling. At first, she'll do everything to convince herself that she's fine. She'll laugh louder, post more, maybe even see someone new. But none of it's authentic. It's defensive. Every post, every word, every display of "I'm better without him" is a message she's sending to herself, not to you. Because deep down, her emotions are whispering the truth. She still feels you. That's the paradox. The stronger the act, the deeper the attachment. When a woman truly doesn't care, she doesn't announce it. But when she goes out of her way to prove it, that's ego trying to outrun emotion. The more she resists, the more those feelings resurface, usually in silence, in the late night scroll through old photos, in the pause before deleting your number. This conflict eats away at her because emotions are irrational. They don't obey logic, timing, or pride. She can tell herself you were wrong for her, that she's moved on, but her body remembers the peace, the tone, the energy. Her ego wants control. Her heart wants connection. That's the war she hides behind the smile. And here's where most men lose their power. They react. They break the silence. They chase clarity. They explain their worth, hoping to fix her confusion. But that only feeds her ego, proving she still controls your emotional state. The Stoic man does the opposite. He stays silent, not out of spite, but out of wisdom. He understands that her ego must tire itself out before truth can reach her heart. You see, when you detach, you give her something no argument ever could: space to feel. Without your presence, her ego loses its opponent. There's nothing to resist, nothing to prove, nowhere to direct the pride. And when that wall finally cracks, emotion floods back in. She starts to remember not what you said, but how it felt to be around you. That's when the shift begins, when pretending no longer works and feeling becomes inevitable. Her ego can't keep up the act forever because no performance can silence emotion that's still alive. So when she acts like you meant nothing, smile within. Don't react. Don't interrupt her process. Because behind the mask of indifference, her heart is quietly betraying her, remembering your energy, your calm, your silence. And in that quiet conflict, she loses control while you regain yours. Section 3. The silent pull. Why detachment makes her obsessed. Detachment does something to a woman's mind that words can't match. It confuses her logic and ignites her curiosity. Because deep down she expects emotion from you, reaction, frustration, pursuit. When you don't give her any of it, her brain doesn't know how to process the silence. You become a puzzle that her emotions can't solve. And that's exactly where obsession begins. See, When a man is emotionally available at all times, he becomes predictable. She knows he'll answer, she knows he'll chase, she knows exactly how to get a reaction. But when you go calm, when you stop chasing and detach with composure, the pattern she depended on shatters. Suddenly, the man she once controlled becomes a mystery, and mystery is the seed of emotional addiction. Every woman wants to feel something. That's why she tests. That's why she provokes. It's not to destroy connection. It's to feel depth, to feel something real. When you don't take the bait, when your silence remains peaceful instead of cold, her mind begins to turn inward. She starts wondering, why isn't he reacting? Did he stop caring, or is he stronger than I thought? And right there in that uncertainty, desire grows. Not because of manipulation, but because emotional detachment flips attraction back in your favor. She starts chasing the same validation you once gave her, but now she's earning it. She begins to crave your attention the same way you once craved her approval. The dynamic reverses completely. This is the psychology of contrast. When your energy was always available, it was background noise. Now your silence amplifies your presence. It gives her imagination space to fill in the blanks. And imagination is always stronger than reality. She starts picturing you out there, calm, improving, living well. The thought of you being unaffected disturbs her more than any argument could. But here's what separates the Stoic man from the rest. He doesn't detach to get her back. He detaches to get himself back. His peace isn't a performance, it's protection. He knows that emotional self-control is the foundation of masculine power. And ironically, that same self-control is what makes him unforgettable. The more you remain centered, the more she feels the pull. Not because of guilt, but because your calm reminds her of everything chaotic within her. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting what she's lost. And no matter how much she tries to distract herself, that reflection keeps returning. So when she starts reaching out again, subtly, indirectly, emotionally, don't rush to fill the silence. Let it breathe. Because your detachment is not pushing her away. It's pulling her deeper. It's showing her the rarest kind of strength. A man who doesn't need attention to know his value. And that, more than anything, is what makes her obsessed. Section 4. The memory effect. Why? She feels your energy. Even when you're gone, long after you stop speaking to her, your energy remains. It lingers in the places you used to stand, in the tone of your last words, in the silence that follows your absence. You may think she's forgotten you, but energy leaves fingerprints. And the kind of man you were determines how long those fingerprints last. Most men underestimate how deeply energy imprints memory. They think memories fade with time. But women don't remember through logic. They remember through feeling. She remembers how your presence made her breathe slower, how your calm steadied her mood, how your silence made her curious. That feeling becomes tied to your image, to your name, to your absence. And when you disappear, her mind begins replaying those emotional cues like echoes. Every time she meets someone new, she unconsciously compares the energy. She listens for the tone, the patience, the steadiness. And when it's not there, her body feels it before her mind can admit it. She doesn't miss you immediately. She misses the feeling of being around you. That's the power of emotional memory. It doesn't fade with distance. It amplifies through contrast. When she's with someone who feels rushed, uncertain, easily triggered, she's reminded of the man who didn't react, the man who was unbothered by storms, the man whose silence felt more grounding than another man's compliments. You see, emotional energy is a mirror. When you carried peace, she felt safe. When you carried mystery, she felt alive. When you carried direction, she felt guided. Those sensations form an imprint that no amount of pretending can erase, even if she blocks you, avoids you, or refuses to mention you. She still feels that energetic contrast every time she's near a man who lacks it. That's why women sometimes reach out months later, seemingly out of nowhere. It's not random. It's resonance. Something triggered a memory of the calm she once felt around you, and her body remembered before her ego could argue. It's never the words that bring her back. It's the vibration of peace you left behind. And here's the deeper truth. When you truly detach, you magnify that energy even more, because the more peaceful you become, the more she feels the imbalance between her noise and your silence. The distance becomes a reflection of growth, your growth. So never underestimate the invisible power of presence. When your energy is authentic, disciplined, calm, masculine, it becomes unforgettable. She'll meet louder men, richer men, more charming men, but she'll never find another with your stillness. Because presence isn't what you give her, it's what you awaken in her. And that awakening doesn't fade when you leave. It echoes through every man who tries to replace you. That's the memory effect. That's why she still feels you, even when you're gone. Section 5. The regret phase. When she starts to realize what she lost. Regret doesn't arrive loudly, it comes quietly. When the noise dies down and the masks start to slip for a while, she might convince herself that she's moved on, that your absence doesn't sting anymore. She'll tell her friends she's fine, she'll stay busy, she'll fill her days with distraction, but peace built on pretense always cracks. And when it does, regret seeps through. It begins with comparison. Not consciously, not maliciously, but instinctively. She meets someone new. Maybe he says the right words. Maybe he's fun. Maybe he even gives her attention you once gave freely. But something's missing. The way you listened, the way your silence steadied her, the way your presence carried calm instead of chaos. It's not there. The connection feels hollow. The peace she once felt with you starts to echo louder in her absence than it ever did when you were near. This is when she begins to remember the details she once overlooked. The patience in your tone, the strength behind your restraint, the way you never needed to dominate to feel powerful. She remembers how rare that felt, how safe that energy was, and how she mistook it for predictability. That realization burns because she understands now that you were never boring. You were balanced. Regret deepens when she sees your silence hasn't broken you, when she notices that you didn't come back seeking closure, that your life moved forward without bitterness or noise. That's when the regret transforms into curiosity, the most dangerous emotion for a woman who once thought she had you figured out. She starts wondering what you're doing, who you've become, and whether you ever think about her. And that wondering feeds the very attachment she tried to bury. What hurts her most isn't that you're gone, it's that you're fine, because your peace proves what her ego denied. She didn't leave a weak man. She left a strong one who simply stopped needing her to feel whole. That truth turns regret into reflection and reflection into obsession. This phase doesn't happen overnight. It builds over time in waves of memory and longing. The longer you remain detached, the more her respect returns. Because silence sustained over time becomes undeniable proof of strength, and women always feel drawn to what they respect. You see, regret is just the mind's way of saying, I finally understand the value of what I took for granted. And when your energy was real, when your love was grounded and patient, that understanding hits like a storm she can't calm. So when she finally realizes what she lost, don't let nostalgia pull you back. Let it remind you who you've become, because her regret isn't your victory. Your peace is. Section 6. The turning point when she comes back and how Stoic men respond. At first, it happens subtly. A small message, a harmless emoji, a memory sent at random. Hey, I just saw something that reminded me of you. She'll pretend it's casual, but beneath that simplicity lies restlessness, curiosity mixed with nostalgia. She's testing the waters, seeing if your silence was real or just temporary. And when she reaches out, it's not because she forgot the past, it's because the past won't stop following her. By the time she reaches this point, she's felt the void your absence left. She's seen the difference between men who chase validation and men who hold their frame. She's realized that peace isn't boring. It's magnetic. And the memory of your composure, your discipline, your restraint now stands out against the noise of every other man who tried to replace you. That's when her curiosity becomes craving. But this moment, this exact moment, is where most men fail. They mistake her return for reconciliation, her message for meaning. They open the gates too quickly, letting emotion flood back in. The Stoic man doesn't do that. He doesn't punish her, but he doesn't celebrate her either. He remains what he's always been: calm, grounded, unbothered. Because you see, when she comes back, it's not just to reconnect, it's to remeasure you. She wants to see if your silence changed you or if you were just pretending to be strong. If your piece was performance, she'll sense it immediately. But if it's become your default state, if you truly evolved in the quiet, she'll feel it before you even speak. Your tone will be different, your pace slower, your words fewer. The old version of you sought closure. The new version is closure. That difference alone changes everything. Because when she realizes you're not the same man she left, she begins to feel what she once made you feel: uncertainty. Here's the key. When she reaches out, don't react from emotion. React from mastery. Don't rush to fill the silence she once created. Let her do the talking. Let her reveal why she's here. And when you do speak, speak with intention. Brief, composed, and clear. You're not here to prove your worth. You're here to protect your peace. A Stoic man doesn't treat her return as validation. He treats it as confirmation. Confirmation that silence works, that calm is louder than noise, that real strength doesn't chase what's already meant to find its way back. If she's genuine, time will reveal it. If she's not, silence will expose it. Either way, you win, because the man who can let her go once can let her go again and still sleep in peace. At the end of it all, the truth becomes beautifully simple. Peace is power, not silence for control, not detachment for manipulation, but genuine peace. The kind that can't be shaken, provoked, or stolen. When you finally reach that place, when you no longer need her to understand what she lost, you've become something far greater than what you were when she knew you. Peace is what separates the man who reacts from the man who reigns. It's the invisible armor that protects you from chaos, confusion, and emotional dependency. When you master it, you stop living to be chosen. You start choosing. You stop needing validation. You start commanding respect. And every woman, whether she admits it or not, feels that difference instantly because peace radiates. It's the quiet confidence that fills a room before you speak. It's the steady energy that makes people trust you without explanation. It's the discipline that turns heartbreak into strength and rejection into direction. When you carry peace, you no longer chase outcomes. You attract alignment. She will feel it too. The same woman who once walked away will sense that she no longer has the same emotional power. Your silence, once painful, has turned into presence. Your detachment, once mistaken for distance, has become direction. You no longer speak to be heard. You speak to be understood. You no longer argue. You observe. You no longer seek closure. You are closure. That's the transformation every Stoic man must go through, from chaos to calm, from reaction to restraint, from pain to peace. Because peace isn't the absence of emotion, it's the control of it. It's standing in the middle of storms and not letting them rewrite your story. And here's the paradox. When you reach that point, the world begins to shift around you. The same people who doubted you start to notice your glow. The same woman who underestimated you begins to feel your energy again, stronger than ever. Not because you said anything, but because you've become different. You see, you never needed revenge. You never needed to prove your worth. You just needed to rise above the noise, to let silence and self-mastery become your loudest response. That's how you win. Not through words, but through evolution. So when she finally sees the man you've become, she'll understand what she lost. But by then, you'll understand something deeper, that her loss was your liberation. Peace isn't just your final stage, it's your ultimate power. Because once you master peace, no one can take it from you again. Before you go, Remember, if you're ready to master yourself and the dating game, my full course is waiting at the Infinite Wisdom site. Join once, and you're in for life with lifetime access to every future lesson, series, and book. Start your journey now because growth doesn't